Welcome to 21st Sports, and we're talking the Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints and their Monday Night Football matchup played September 26th, 2016. And if you like scoring, this was the game for you as these two NFC South Division rivals went at it in prime time. The scoring got started when Drew Brees hit the tight end Kobe Fleener for a 2-yard touchdown pass that put the Saints on the board and gave them the early lead 7-0. But then a fumble on a punt set the Falcons up right on the doorstep, and Tevin Coleman rushed it in for a 2-yard touchdown, and this game was tied at 7 apiece. So that would be all the scoring in the first quarter, but there would be plenty of more scoring to come. And just seconds into the second quarter, Matt Ryan hit Devonta Freeman for a 13-yard touchdown pass, and it was now 14-7 as the Falcons took their first lead of the game. Drew Brees then hit Michael Thomas for a 3-yard touchdown, and this game was tied up once again, this time at 14 apiece. Then Tevin Coleman rushed for his second touchdown of the game, another 2-yard touchdown run, and the Falcons were back on top by a touchdown with the score Atlanta 21, New Orleans 14. Then with about half a minute left before halftime, Matt Ryan hit Justin Hardy for a 4-yard touchdown, and it was now 28-14 as the Falcons extended their lead to 14. But on the final play of the first half, Will Lutz hit a 57-yard field goal, and that made it 28-17 as the Saints narrowed the gap to 11 points at the intermission. But then in the third, Tevin Coleman, his third rushing touchdown of the game, a 6-yard touchdown run, and it was 35-17 with the Falcons running away with this one. John Kuhn would score on a 3-yard touchdown run for the Saints, and Ingram added the 2-point conversion on the ground, and it was a 10-point game with the Falcons 35, Saints 25. That was about midway through the third. Then with about 3 minutes left still in the third, Matt Bryant hit a 21-yard field goal to make it 38-25 Falcons. So then in the fourth quarter, an interception by Deion Jones, run back 90 yards for the pick six, and it was a 20-point lead now for the Falcons, 45-25. Drew Brees would hit Mark Ingram for a 5-yard touchdown pass to make it 45-32 with about 10 minutes left to go, but that would be the final score of the game as the Falcons hold on to win this one. And in the closing moments, they actually took a knee in the red zone. They could have scored some more points if it was necessary, although it definitely was not. But the Saints fall into 0-3. Their season is over before it really got started, as no team under the current playoff format has made the playoffs starting the season 0-3. Will the Saints be the first to do it? Not very likely with the team that they have, as they really have no defense. And it's sad to see Drew Brees, the second half of his career really be squandered after they did win that Super Bowl. That's one thing you can hang your hats on, Saints fans. At least you have a Super Bowl victory under your belt. The Falcons, they've never won a Super Bowl, but they won this game, though, pretty handily. The Saints, they've never really recovered ever since the whole Bounty Gate scandal. Their defense has never been the same. But the Falcons, they put up big points in this one. Just points of playing. Like I said, they could have pushed it over 50 if it was necessary. They were in the red zone at the end of the game when they took that knee. But in this game, Matt Ryan, 20 for 30, 240 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Devonta Freeman, 14 carries for 152 yards. He also had 5 receptions for 55 yards receiving and a receiving touchdown, which gave him 207 total yards on the day. Tevin Coleman had 12 carries for 42 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. He also had 3 receptions for 47 yards, giving him 89 total yards in the game. And for the Saints, Drew Brees, 36 for 54, 376 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, Of course, that interception was ran back for a touchdown. Mark Ingram, 15 carries for 77 yards rushing. He also had 4 receptions for 30 receiving yards and a touchdown, giving him 107 total yards on the day. Kobe Fleener had 7 catches for 109 yards and a touchdown. Let me look at the defense. Of course, Jones with that pick 6. Trufant had a sack, and Freeney had a sack as well for the Falcons. And for the Saints, Fairley had 1.5 sacks, and Cameron Jordan had a half sack. Look at the first downs in this game, 32-26 in favor of the Saints. And on third down, the Saints 7-13, 53%. And the Falcons 5 for 11, 45%. On fourth down, the Falcons 2 for 2, 100%. And the Saints 1 for 2, 50%. Total net yards 474 to 442, with the slight edge going to the Saints in that category. But on the ground, the Falcons outrushing the Saints. Total net rushing yards 217 to 115, more than 100 yards above the Saints total. And if you look at the average yards per rushing play for the Falcons, they averaged 7 yards per rushing play. And if you do that, you're going to win. I mean, who's going to beat you if you can get 7 yards per rushing play? Of course, the Saints, they have 5 yards per rushing play, but the 7 is just out of control. And we look at the penalties in this game, 5 against the Saints, 75 penalty yards, 4 against the Falcons for 35 penalty yards. 1 fumble in the game, and that was on that punt early on that led to a touchdown. They were able to turn that into points on the board. And if you figure right there with that turnover on the punt with the special teams that led to the first touchdown for the Falcons by Tevin Coleman, and then also that pick 6, that's 14 points right there off of turnovers for the Falcons, which would end up being the difference in this game. We look at the red zone, and for the Saints, they were 4 for 5 in the red zone, 80%, and the Falcons 5 for 7, 71%. But really, they were 5 for 6. That final red zone trip was at the end of the game. They took the knee. So, I mean, it technically was a trip to the red zone, but, you know, and they technically didn't score, but they chose not to score at that point instead of running the score up needlessly. But we look at the time of possession, 32 minutes, 34 seconds for the Saints, 27 minutes, 26 seconds for the Falcons. That was really the thing. It was all offense in this game. Both teams just kept scoring points. But the big difference was the turnovers. Wasn't a lot of turnovers, but the Falcons capitalized and turned those turnovers into points on the board, as I already mentioned. Of course, with that fumble on the punt, and then with the interception run back for the touchdown. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Which plays and performances stuck out to you? Thank you very much for listening. It is greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a good day and having a great weekend and had a great week. And looking forward to some more football coming up this next weekend, as they'll all get started on Thursday night. So keep an eye out for that. But thank you again, and enjoy all the sports.